Well, after Brian, I don't think I can say anything. It was a very good, thank you. And to cut it short also, all the thank you is exactly what Brian said. Thank you all. It's an opportunity also for me to come for the first time to Ankara. It was wonderful. What I'm going to talk about is that Iraq went through 4 wars. And as an experience, I think Iraq is the one that is the real authority of what happens in this sort of wars, to the museums and to the heritage buildings, and to its very and so what I'm going to do is really just to show what the authorities tried to do and the securities they took, and what happened. Did they succeed or not? And what are the lessons we take from this kind of wars of destruction? Looting in Iraq has always been there. It's a tradition, even we can say from ancient times. A different type of, if we call it looting today, but then the ancients, and even till today, locals picking up antiquities from the surface is a blessing. So especially if they were beads or cylinder seals, they use them for quite a lot of different kind of potions. So that I don't count that was kind of a looting, because it was a tradition. We have even a tablet where the king says to his courtier, go and find some lapis lazuli from the mounds. So it's a tradition till today. But by the 19th century, with the archaeologists coming to Iraq and digging and started buying these things, looting became a different thing. And so even I have 2 documents from the Iraq Museum from 1931, where the director of antiquities is pleading, in fact, with the administrative people in southern Iraq that there is looting in these sites, and please can you do something about it. It's not only that, but and the administrative that he wrote to, telling him that when they send the police to stop the looters from Tell al-Aqarib, the looters had a fight with them with guns. So I mean, they were really raided, so it's always been there. And when we come to the wars in Iraq, the 1980 war with Iran, the museums did not suffer then. The government was still in control, but the sites, especially in southern Iraq, the government was more busy with the war and lost quite a lot of the control of the countryside. And that's when really what we can call systematic looting of sites started. In the bazaar in Baghdad, there was an increase, a really noticeable increase of antiquities being sold. I once saw about 150 cylinder seals being sold at the same time. So it must have been a really big site to get all these from. It's 91, the war to Kuwait, where, the war to Kuwait, the invasion of Kuwait, where really the museums had suffered. Immediately when the Iraqis army withdrew. There was a rebellion that started in southern Iraq and then spread up to the north. And as a result of that, 9 of the 13 provincial museums were looted. This was not expected by the Iraqi authorities or the antiquity department, and so all the antiquities were there, and over 5,000 objects from these museums has disappeared, more or less. Very few of them has appeared since then. What happened is, in the Iraq Museum, the antiquity staff expected that the Iraq Museum is going to be bombed. So most of the security was done for the objects in the Iraq Museum, not into the provincial museums. And what they did is they started taking the more precious material, like the tablets. All the tablets, about 40,000 of them, they sent them to the Duhok Museum up in northern Iraq in Kurdistan. They took the manuscripts, which again, something like 80,000 or something, to the Kirkuk Museum. Well, the rebellion happened. The Kirkuk material ended up being looted. In Baghdad, we have the gold from Ur, the royal cemetery of Ur, and the royal queens of Nimrud were taken to the bank, and that was okay. But the rest, the Duhok one, where tablets were, the rebellion in Duhok, the Kurds would go and to the Duhok Museum and make it, because it was a new building, they made it into their quarters. And then the Iraqi army would take Duhok, and so they made it into their headquarters. And there was a very big worry that the tablets were gone. That would have meant 3,000 of Iraqi history would have disappeared. And but luckily, all of them were saved because they were in the basement, and neither side were interested in the basement to be there. And so when Doni and the colleagues from Mosul Museum went to get them and begged the commander, the Iraqi commander, to see them, Doni for me said that when he went down and saw the boxes were there, his feet could not carry him. He had to sit on the ground. So that was safe, but it's chance. You know, it was really not a real. Maybe they didn't think of that anyone will go to Hawk. The Kirkuk one, where they had the manuscript, somebody looted them, put them in a lorry, took them away. A month later, an old man saw these boxes on the side of the street on the way to Tikrit, and came to tell them, tell the staff in the Kirkuk Museum, and they went and got them. So in both occasions, it was just good luck that again, the manuscripts would have gone forever. We didn't know. The only big thing happened after the 91 war. This is the Duhok Museum. Sorry, what did I do? Sorry, yeah. I'll go to that. Okay. That's the Kirkuk Museum. Where
One second.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to the sanction. What happened after that is the period of the sanctions. And during the sanction period, the sites in the south, as Brian showed one of the photographs of the sites being completely looted. In the north, there wasn't much looting, but I'm giving just one example, and this is the head of a winged bull from Khursabat. The looters tried to cut it into pieces because the head of this is about 2 tons in weight. You know, usually these lamassos, the winged bulls, are between 7 and 18 tons. It depends how big it is. They are. And this one, they cut it like a cheese block, and then they were caught. And it's now in the Iraq Museum to show as an example of what a looter would destroy something, a piece of art. And that's coming to 2003, and this is the third war, let's say the invasion of Iraq, 1923. And here, all the museums, the provincial museums, if there was anything left in them, were brought to Iraq. What happened? Okay. All the museums were brought, all their antiquity were brought to Baghdad in the hope that Baghdad will be safe, because that's what happened in 91. Okay? Well, what happened this time is that the government lost control in Baghdad, and as a result of that, of course, the Iraq Museum this time was, I put this is Dr. Jabir Rahim, who was the Director General, going into his office. It just gives you the feeling of someone who's gone the first time to see what is happening to his office. The first thing that happened in the Iraq, in the Department of Antiquity in the Iraq, is they went through the offices. Really, the first looters were more interested in the chairs, the tables, the computers, etc. And then they found it was not all that difficult to get to the storerooms and to the exhibition hall, to the galleries. What happened is that before that, the staff has removed the most precious material from the galleries and they stored them in what they call the secret place. And these were saved. No one knows where, but quite a number of material was still there. Was still in the. You could see the photographic department. Where is it? Yeah. All the pictures and so on were. They were. I don't know what they were looking for, because somebody said that they were looking for their files. You know, people were looking for files, personal files, and they don't find it, so they threw all the photographs, the films, and then even the cards in the museum all over the floor. And this is what happened in the storerooms. You could see they went to one of the storerooms. The museum has 2 storerooms, and this one, they went right through it. It's except there's an anecdote in the museum. They tell you when you go to the storerooms, the first aisles where antiquities are the forgeries. The looters not knowing if it is a forgery. So all the forgeries were taken first, and so yeah, that's another good luck. Yeah, but I mean, this is what they threw them out. A lot of it was really destroyed by neglect. You know, if it is pottery, they didn't like it, they throw it on the floor, and that's how quite a lot of it. Yeah. But at the same time, because the staff were in a hurry, the government would not let them pack the antiquities at the beginning, because their idea is that to keep the people think that life is as usual. So you don't close the museum or something like that. So they left it to the last minute when they told them, go and clear up, you know, empty the museum. So they forgot quite a number of objects. Or they thought it's in a good place, like the Lear of Ur. This was put in a room and locked up with the work ahead and other very, very precious material. The looters were able to get into that room and completely, if the lyre, why it is in pieces, because they thought that the looters thought they will find more gold inside the box, the box. And maybe the biggest loss for the Iraq Museum, apart from the UNESCO list of precious objects, is really the cylinder seals collection. And that's, again, it was an oversight by the staff. Again, they were in a hurry. They never thought about it. The cylinder seals, about 5,000 of them, were all put into boxes on top of these cabinets. Originally, these cabinets did contain the cylinder seals, but then these cabinets had the collection of coins. Apparently, we have about 100,000 coins in the Islamic, and even right up from the beginning, the Persian, Sasanian, and Parthian coins. And this one place where the investigation, when it was done by the American investigators and later by the committee, Iraqi committee, which sort of an inquiry committee that went on for 9 months, they both came to a conclusion that this area of the looting was an insider operation. Somebody who knew exactly where they were, and it seems they even had the keys. So I would call them thieves, because these are not really looters just like that, went with the idea of robbing all the coins, because they had the keys to the coins. What happened is that when they got in, that is in a corner of the storerooms, I tell you, I've been in that storeroom for a whole year, and I've never found my way through it. It's like a maze. It's huge. I usually go down and shout, say, where are you? And then I follow the voice to get to wherever I am. And this was really in a corner. You could find it. They found a secret, they went through a secret door, which I never knew it existed, and I was in the museum since its building, you see. They found a way, they broke through it, and they went down and got there. Luckily, to the coins, in the darkness, they lost the keys. So they couldn't get into the cabinet, but they found the cylinder seals on top of the cabinets, and you could see all the boxes of the cylinder seals on the floor. Seals and quite a lot of the semi-precious stones, beads and so on. Nearly nothing of the cylinder seals have appeared since then, apart from a group of about 400, maybe more, which was brought by an Italian archaeologist who took it to himself to go around at the beginning, within the first few weeks of the robbery, and got this collection of seals. And the others, till today, less than half a dozen have appeared, nothing else. So where these, a whole collection of Iraq Museum and seals have gone. So, and now will come, the next one will be the beads. Beads came from a collection that was found in southern Iraq, in Diwaniya. They collected it. In fact, young people went around and collected it from the bazaar. And the curator of the cylinder seals told me that she thinks they were all the beads from the Iraq Museum collection. And you could see them here. And that's at the bottom is the cylinder seals, and that was brought by Paolo, the Italian archaeologist. We come to the last war. Not the last war. What do you say?
Most recent.
The most recent war, because you don't know what happened again. And that is really the most destructive of the wars, And of course you all know about what's happened in the northern Iraq, in Sinjar and so on, and then the invasion of Mosul. And I'm not going to talk about what happened to Nimrud because I want only to talk about the museum itself, Mosul Museum. This is a photograph of the museum. I think this is Diane's photograph at the bottom, this one. She took it when she visited the museum in 2009. Sometime. And the top one is the entrance to the museum with a very, they make supposedly a very strong and security-wise doors to the museums to stop people going in. And these are the photographs of what ISIS did to then I think quite a lot of you have seen the video at the time. Here they have one of the quite a unique statue of a judge from Hatra. I've written it wrong, Hatra. And that's another one, and that's how it, now, this is when they went to the museum now. It shows they don't only, ISIS showed us how they cut the pieces, and you once thought that they packed them and left them there. It's not true. They have taken every single piece nearly only the very smashed ones are still there, but the antiquities in the museum, all of it has been, even this painting, these are modern paintings, have been taken away. That's another one. It shows of two from the Hatra, how they smashed to pieces. And these are the reliefs, the reliefs from Hatra. When Layla went to the museum after it was liberated, not a single one is there. So they polluted the museum completely. That's the museum in as it was in 1970, in the 70s. That is exactly the same room with Layla standing in the middle of how she saw it when she got in. How did the ISIS people, they didn't go from the main door, they found another door, a side door where they were going to, and that door also led to the basement where there was most of the storage of the antiquities. And you could see again Layla going down. Oh gosh, fine. So Layla going down to the basement. And it looks like this one wasn't very well secured, the door. And this is the main hall in the museum. With this huge hole, which probably done with an explosive. No. Sorry, I think this is the last one I was showing. I thought I'm showing more. Yeah, I think that's it. Yes, I thought I put some more. So, yeah. Okay. So, I don't know what lesson we learned from it. You know, I mean, one had to discuss all the mistakes that they've done. And the trouble is that, to an extent, you protect because you had an experience, you lost something. But they find another way of doing it. With these determined people of destroying things, they always find another way which you haven't thought about. The only way is really to document everything. This is one of the mistakes we have, is that we don't have very good documentation. Photography we haven't done very well. That's what we need, really. That's the only thing we can think of, perhaps, to keep a record of what we have of heritage, is photography. A very good photography and documentation. Do you have another way?